G'day everyone, welcome to our first episode of Speedcars Down Under. My name is Jamie Smith. I'm the owner-operator of Tas Auto Shots Media in Tasmania. Along with me tonight on the side of the screen we can see Mr. Paul Charlesworth, who is a big fan of Speedcars, sponsors Nick Parker's car, does a lot with Speedcars, but he's also joined us. He's also he's a member of the page and helped us found this page. So welcome, Paul. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jamie. Thanks for having me. And thank you very much for helping, well, both of us for getting this page up and running.
Cheers, mate. Please bear with us, everyone. This is the first time we've ever done this sort of thing. So this is all new to us. So hopefully over time this will improve. But at the moment, we're just going to plod along and see how we go and hope that it all goes to plan, eh, Paul?
Yeah, for sure. And because once again, it's new for me. Once again, I'm not a big media guy like yourself, and
yep.
I do get a bit starstruck every now and then. But with the help of you, I sort of want to do this to promote Speedcars Australia.
Yeah. How's the come down from the Australian title, mate? The last time we actually had a can with each other, we was at the Australian title at Murray Bridge. I don't know about you, but I'm still, loving every second of that. That was like one of the best. I honestly think it's the best Australian title I've ever been to. Not only the driving, the track, the whole everything. Like I've never been around speed cars before, as big as what it was on the mainland. We had a little bit down here in Tassie, but not as big as over there. But it just blew me out of the water of how good these things are good to watch racing around that track, and the display of driving that they put on was absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, look, mate, one of the reasons why I wanted to get you over there and, just help me promote, as I said, I'm a big supporter of Nick Parker.
Yeah.
And, and other supporters and the Pro Series.
Yeah.
I sort of wanted, because once again, a few people had asked me, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? But I just don't have the ability. And when I sort of thought about this, I thought, you know what, I'll jump on you.
Yeah.
And to invite you over there and get you over there, I knew that you would be able to put a package together to help all of us.
Yeah.
And when I say that, we both did a bit of work getting, to try and get you on the infield, to try and, not step on other people's toes like Ash from, whatever media, sorry.
Pay-per-view.
My disrespect. But, Alison Dwyer, she did help us out, a big factor there.
Yeah.
But to get you there, and once again, like to help us out to try and promote Nick, who, once again is a big, friend of mine, family friend. And, I brought my first race car off him. And, it was just to sort of more promote Speedcars Australia, because I just think it's one of the oldest divisions in Australian Speedway.
Yeah.
And back in the day, like they used to have 35,000 people at a Sydney showgrounds on a Wednesday night.
Yeah.
And, sprint cars, are massive at the moment. We've got so many people that are promoting them, you've got, Sprint Car Hub and everyone else, which, I take my hat off to. But I just think speed cars at the moment aren't getting the support and the promotions that they really need.
Yeah.
And considering we've got some of the best drivers, in the world, and we proved that at the last Australian titles.
Yeah, yeah, exactly that, man. And the passion that you've shown and the passion that I've developed, like I said, I've always been a sprint car fan all my life. I like all divisions, but I always had a close spot in my heart for sprint cars. But I think it's got speed car written on it now, not sprint car, for the Australian title. Like I said, I've never seen racing like that before in my life. Like that was just absolutely spectacular. But and that's pretty much why we've set the page up, in it, Paul, is to promote Speedcars Australia wide. To do this sort of thing every Sunday night or whatever night we decide to do it. I think we've decided on Sunday night that we'll do the stream, or Monday night, whichever. Get the drivers involved, get some team interviews going, some driver interviews, and just promote the sport where it should be. I think, like there's
for sure.
I don't think there's enough promotion for Speedcars.
No, I don't either. And look, one of the reasons why, as I said, I'm so thankful for you jumping on board is that, like there are so many guys and females out there now that are jumping into this sport
Yep.
that just they need the support and they need to be thrown out there so the general public
Yep.
can actually see who they are, what they're about, so we can start sponsoring and getting some more sponsorship deals together and getting people to look at this and say, hey, you know what? Let's jump on board because as a sponsor, you don't have to be a millionaire. I mean, I'm not.
Yep.
And as you heard at the Australian titles, like I support a couple of drivers, in small, just small amounts. And I sponsor the Pro Series.
Yep.
I'm not a millionaire,
Yep.
but I love it,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if people like myself can show the general public that all we need to do is just say, give this guy or give this girl a bit of a helping hand. It's $500. $500 is a lot of money.
Yep.
In today's age, right? But let's just try and get the Speedcars back to where they used to be.
Yeah. Yep. 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 No, exactly. Totally agree there, Paul.
Yeah.
So that like we're saying, that's pretty much what the page is all about. We just want to promote Speedcars, anything to do with videos. So we'll be putting it out there in the next few days, weeks. Any drivers that are interested, any teams that are interested, that'd like to come on the show and talk about their Speedcars and talk about what they're doing for the season upcoming or the season that just passed. We don't really care. We just want to have a yak to you. So please inbox the page if you really be keen to do this, because I think it's a great opportunity to promote the sponsors a bit more, as well as the team. Excuse me. Excuse me again. As for next Sunday night, I think we've got young Holly Russell coming on the show from New Zealand. She's an upcoming young talent. Do you know much? I don't really know a lot about Holly. I've only sort of spoke to her on Facebook, but it's going to be great to have her on the show as a first up.
So, look, I've spoken with Holly, and I had a friend. I've got a couple of friends from New Zealand who have sort of thrown it out there. I've been a friend of Holly's probably for 6 months now.
Yep.
And I've sort of just, as you know, like I sort of follow everyone that's to do with the Speedcars.
Yep.
And I'll try and friend request everyone just to get an insight on what they're up to, what they want to do. And so I've sort of come across young Holly. I take my hat off to her because she's a young female who's left the place where she lives, right, which is New Zealand.
Yep.
She's come to Australia. She's thrown herself out there and she's looking for a drive.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's pretty admirable because it's not every day that you see a young girl who leaves her family, leaves the state she lives in, comes to another country and goes, you know what, I'm here to have a drive.
Yeah.
So I threw it out to her and I said to her, look, this is what we're doing. And once again, it's a bit hard to, especially when, you're a nobody and you're sort of throwing yourself out there. Do you want to be a part of the podcast? She was pretty keen. I sort of mentioned you, get onto your page, check you out. And she did, which was good. So, she's going to be our first guest. We've had some good response.
Yep.
So I've touched base with Tommy Payette, which I sort of helped out to go to America, not with a lot, but those guys, there were 4 guys from WA that went to the States, run for the Indiana Speed Week. I know they struggled, but they had a good time. They learnt a lot. After talking to Tom, he's going to be our second guest. I spoke with Jack McCarthy. He's going to be our third guest. We've also had Andrew Sharp.
Yeah.
He's also touched base with us.
Oh, yes, he inboxed us the other day. I did see that in the
inbox. He did. Yep. And I've heard some really good stuff about the Sharp guys.
Yep.
I did hear a bit of a rumour that they're getting a Beretta. And maybe Nick Parker might be actually invited to go and run their car for them. I'm not 100% sure.
Yep.
So, but that's something we need to talk to them about.
Yep.
Stephen Doyle. So he's the father of Bo Doyle.
And, of course, Nick Parker. We're putting the word out to you, Nick. If you're watching this, you need to dust off the cobwebs off the hair, mate, and put some makeup on and come on and have a bit of an interview with us, doesn't he?
He does. I spoke to him the other day and he goes, oh no, you've done so much for me. You need to do some more of some other people. So, but no, we need what we're looking for is we're looking for representatives from every state.
Yeah, that's
So
exactly right. Yep.
yeah. So, and I mean, David Devine, who is the father of young Tim Devine. Now, as we all know, well, I don't know if we all know that, but I invited Tim Devine to come down and drive my car in Tassie a couple of years ago for the state title.
Yep.
Unfortunately, got rained out. So unfortunately that didn't happen. So I was pretty disappointed. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I've been a supporter of those guys as well.
Yep.
But look, for me, as I said, if I was, you asked me once in a shed session that we did, what would I do if I was a millionaire and I had unlimited money? I'd be Keith Coons and I would be sponsoring everyone. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But as much as I'd love to help everyone out, I'm sort of limited to what I can and can't do. And also having a car, well, nearly 2 cars myself in Tassie, and once again, I just want to talk a little bit about the Tassie Club.
Yep.
We need to focus on getting some guys to do this as well in Tasmania, because if Tassie wants to do something, they need to jump on this page and they need to show Australia, right, and the Speedcars Australia especially, that they want something. Otherwise, it's not going to happen.
No, the division was reasonably good down here for a while, and then it just all of a sudden stopped. I'm pretty sure it was because of lack of numbers. I may be wrong, but I'm sure it was because of lack of numbers at each show. But it certainly would be great to get this division back down here and get it operation and running.
Oh, look, we all know this, right? Tasmania's always been a big tin top state, right? I mean, Tassie's produced some of the best speedway drivers in Australia. Right. Whether we've held some of the biggest, like Formula 500 sprint cars, sedans. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's been, other sedan titles.
Yeah, we've had a few Australian titles down over here over the last few years. So that's definitely a big state for tin tops. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, and I mean, once again, you know me, I don't want to take anything away from anyone, but I mean, when you're in a small state like Tasmania, you can't take anything away from anyone. And like winning the sprints, I love them. I mean, I was always a big sprint car fan too. But at the end of the day, I mean, I've driven a winless sprint, not in Tassie, but somewhere else. And like as you knew when I did a shed session with you, if you don't have a go at something, how do you know what it's like to drive something else?
Yeah. No, totally agree. And like I said, like there's some good drivers down here too. You got young Brock Webster, who was going really well in the Australian Title AMA final till something unfortunately went wrong with the car. You got Luke Redpath, another good driver. Freddie Freeman.
Freddie Freeman.
We've got a few of the Freeman boys on, I think, haven't we? We've got there's Fred. There's a few of them down here anyway. Alistair.
Well, you look at the last lot. Yeah, you look at the last lot of Tassie titles.
Yeah.
I think you've had Fred and both his brothers have been in the top 5.
Yeah.
And they're driving the V6s. So, at the end of the day, you can't sit there and tell me that like that the V6s, regardless of whether you're running a Fontana or a Chev.
Yeah.
But I mean, and poor old Brock, that time when Nick came over, Brock and myself had car issues.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And, and once again, I think it was Barney. He got second or third for the third year in a row.
Yeah, no.
Running a V6. So.
And you as a car owner, Paul, you've got 2 cars. What's your plans with your cars? Like, what do you be doing?
Well, so obviously my plans is to give. I've got a young guy. I'm not going to mention names, but I've got a young guy down there at the moment that I've just brought a new chassis off.
Yep.
It's a chassis from America. It's pretty well an unknown one. I've got it for fairly cheap. I've still got the Aggressor, but I've also brought another engine, which I brought off another guy from Hobart that had a speed car that chose not to come out and race.
Yep.
Which was unfortunate because I know that guy and he's a good guy. Unfortunately, he wanted more races to bring his car out, but my opinion is why buy a race car if you're not going to race it?
Yep.
That's no disrespect.
Yep.
But you know, like I just can't see the point of buying a race car if you're not going to race it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So Matt Papa brought the car, offered me the engine, which was a Gertie. Once again, it's not, you know, it's not a Chev or anything else, you know, spectacular like a Toyota, but it's a good entry level engine.
Yep.
I do know the history of it, so I'm trying to put another car together as
Yep.
well as you know the one that I brought off Nick Parker with the Fontana. So yeah, look, hopefully I've got two good entry level cars in Tasmania. If and that's for people to drive,
Yep.
you know. And once again, I'm not a Keith Coons. I'm not a millionaire.
Yep.
I'm quite happy to supply the cars and supply a few other things, but they've also if they want to race them, they've also got to step up to the plate and start putting something into it as well.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's fair
Otherwise,
enough. That's fair enough.
yeah. I mean,
And
look,
what about
mate,
yourself? What about yourself, Paul? Have you ever thought about stepping back into the driver's seat?
oh look, if I didn't have to come back up here,
Yeah.
of course I would. I mean,
Yep.
I went, yeah, like as you know, like I had a bit of a medical scenario,
Yeah, you did.
and
Yep.
I lost my partner at the time,
Yep.
and then you know my daughter's mum came back into my life, and then she she ended up passing away
Yep.
as well a few
Yep.
weeks after my partner at the time passed away. I went out and brought a speed car because at the time I was sponsoring the Websters, and someone said to me, "Hey, you know, like, why don't you go out and buy a car yourself?" And so I did. And then I was a bit criticised because people going, "Oh, you know, you're going through a midlife crisis. What are you doing buying a race car at the age of 50?" And I'm thinking, well, why shouldn't I? Why can't I?
Yeah. That's it.
You know, so
Might as well have a bit of fun
and
while you're here.
oh, well, mate. Well, once again, I mean, like, why not? Like, there's plenty of people out there that, you know, like, yeah. I mean, to me, I had a goal too. Like, all I want to do in that 5 years that I thought, well, I'm going to go back racing speed cars.
Yeah.
If I can make the top five in 5 years, I would have been happy. And, you know, I believe I could have got that, you know,
Yeah.
especially with that car.
Yep. Yep. No, definitely. So
But at this stage in my life, no, look, mate, I'm quite happy. I get and from the last Aussie title, as you've seen me, I get more enjoyment out of just being a part of it now.
yeah, it was great fun. Like the people were so kind, and chuck a GoPro on anyone's car and not have any issues. It was like, yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, and once again, like, I mean, look for me, it's a family, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
and
definitely
to
agree.
be a part of that family, it's just amazing. And you know, to have the correspondence with different people in different states,
Yep.
and like, yeah, I mean, look, once again, if I was a millionaire, I'd have one of the biggest teams like Keith Coons, you know.
I wish I had bought a speed car years ago. It'd be awesome.
Oh, look, that'd be awesome.
I probably wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now, but yeah, no, it'd be awesome. But I enjoy doing what I'm doing now, going around filming, promoting the speedway that we love, and not just speed cars, but all divisions. But yeah,
Oh, you do?
I've definitely got a soft spot for speed cars, and yeah, no, I'm looking forward to doing some more work with them. I can't wait, actually.
No, that's good. Well, I think Tasmania's lucky because, like in the shed session that we did,
Yep.
like I said to you, if more people don't do that, we
Yep.
lose the history of Speedway.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
You know?
And
And
that's why I started doing the shed sessions, because a lot of the people down here knew what the car was, what number the car was, and what colour it was, but they didn't really know the drivers and the team members.
yeah,
That's why we originally started it, so we could, so everyone could look at a car and look at a driver and say, "Oh, I know that bloke. I've seen him. I know exactly what he looks like."
yeah. Well, I mean, as a kid growing up too, like one of the things Speedway's changed a bit where, you know, a lot of people now don't want to go down to the pits at the end of a race.
Yep. Yep.
And I think that's where you miss the the ability of actually understanding who, you know, like you might look at a car and go, yeah, I'll go for him or I'll go for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you need to understand who that person is and learn from them. It's like when I came up here to Darwin, I'd never seen a speed car in my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you know, I'm meeting people like Dean Summers, Bobby Holt, Warren Eakins, and you go down there as a kid and you're meeting them.
Yeah.
And, you know, like all you want to do is, you know, get their autograph and And then, like when you meet these guys, especially, the Warren Eakins, the Bobby Holtz, the Clyde Baxters, as you know,
Yep.
who, Clyde raced Point and Speedcars.
Yep.
And like the Dean Summers, I mean, I was lucky because Dean Summers had a workshop across the road from where I worked. And I used to build switchboards as an apprentice electrician. And so I had my first drive in his car.
Yep.
And then, like to have a friendship and build a friendship with people like Warren Eakins and Bobby, because Bobby lives here in Catherine, where I live.
Yep.
And he's in his 80s, and his speed car's still out in his shed.
Yep.
And he still drives trucks today,
That's
and
awesome.
I love going out there and picking his brain and talking to him, and yeah, like I mean, for me, that's heritage. You know what I mean?
Yep. No, that's awesome, Paul. Well, Paul, we're going to put the call out, and like I said, any drivers and that that are interested in getting on the show and have a bit of a yak. And of course, this is only our first show. We're only sort of introducing ourselves and telling everyone what we're about, and what we want to do is promote speed cars in Australia. So and we're going to try and do that the best of our capabilities. Hoping we can do that in the next few months, years, whatever it takes, but we'll work our way through it, won't we?
Of course we will. And as I said, we've got Holly Russell, our first one.
Yep.
Tommy Payette. We've got either Andrew, Sharp. We've got David Devine, who's the dad of Tim.
Yep.
We've got Jack McCarthy. I mean, once again, I don't want to rush out and sort of start texting everyone because
we'll get too far beyond. We won't be able to keep up with them all, hopefully.
Correct. So, but we want to invite people to come to us as well.
Yeah, that's it.
We do want a representative from every state.
Yes, we do. We want
to try and be a part of it. Even if we do a show on a Wednesday night through the week, and deal with a representative, because we want to know, and we want to let Australia know what speed cars are doing throughout Australia.
Yep.
And what people have got in mind, like Harry Stewart at the moment, like Dylan Menz.
Yep.
Like these guys are doing double duties. So we want to know what is they're all doing, so we can tell Australia what is it doing.
Yep, that's exactly right. And hopefully we can do that in the next few, whatever it takes.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, well, we might leave there, Paul. And we will be back on Sunday or Monday night. I'd say Monday night. We might be back with our second episode, because this is our first one. But like I said, we just thought we'd do this tonight to just introduce ourselves and tell the public what we're all about. And hopefully we've done that a little bit tonight. But as we keep going, like I said, this is our first time of doing this sort of thing. We can make improvements and make it better along the way. But anyway, thanks, Paul. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. And we'll see everyone real soon. And if you don't like the page, please give it a like. And we'll talk we'll talk real soon, everyone. And for everyone out there in Speedway land and motorsport land, take care, everyone, and we'll talk soon.
Okay, thanks a lot, Jamie.